Human beings are great adapters, and by lunchtime, life in the environs of Arthur's house had settled into a steady routine. It was Arthur's accepted role to lie squelching in the mud, making occasional demands to see his lawyer, his mother, or a good book. It was Mr. Prosser's accepted role to tackle Arthur with the occasional new ploy, such as the for the good public good talk, the March of Progress talk, or the they knocked my house down once, never looked back talk, and various other cajoleries and threats. It was the bulldozer driver's accepted role to sit around, drinking coffee, and experimenting with union regulations to see how they could turn the situation to their financial advantage. The earth moved slowly on its course. The sun was beginning to dry out the mud that Arthur lay in. A shadow moved across him again. "Hello, Arthur," said the shadow. Arthur looked up, and squinting into the sun, was startled to see Ford Prefect standing above him. "Ford! Hello, how are you?" "Fine," said Ford. "Look, are you busy?" "Am I busy?" exclaimed Ford. "Well, I've just got all these bulldozers and things to lie in front of because they'll knock my house down if I don't, but other than that, well, not especially. Why?" They don't have sarcasm on Beetlejuice, and Ford Prefect often failed to notice it unless he was concentrating. He said, "Good, is there anywhere we can talk?" "What?" said Arthur Dent. For a few seconds, Ford seemed to ignore him and stared fixedly into the sky like a rabbit trying to get run over by a car. Then suddenly he squatted down beside Arthur. "We've got to talk," he said urgently. "Fine," said Arthur. "Talk." "And drink," said Ford. "It's vitally important that we talk and drink. Now, we'll go to the pub in the village." He looked into the sky again, nervously, expectantly. "Look, don't you understand?" shouted Ford. He pointed at Prosser. "That man wants to knock my house down." Ford glanced at him, puzzled. "Well, he can do it while you're away, can't he?" he asked. "But I don't want him to." "Ah." "Look, what's the matter with you, Ford?" said Arthur. Nothing's the matter. Listen to me. I've got to tell you the most important thing you've ever heard. And I've got to tell you now, and I've got to tell you in the saloon bar of the Horse and Groom." "But why?" "Because you're going to need a very stiff drink." Ford stared at Arthur, and Arthur was astonished to find his will beginning to weaken. He didn't realize that this was because of an old drinking game that Ford had learned to play in the hyperspace ports that served Majormite mining belts in the star system of Orion Beta. The game was not unlike the Earth game called Indian Wrestling. It was played like this. Two contestants would sit on either side of a table with a glass in front of them. Between them would be placed a bottle of Old Jank Spirit, as immortalized in that ancient Orion mining song. "Oh, don't give me none more of that Old Jank Spirit. No, don't give me none more of that Old Jank Spirit. For my head will fly, and my tongue will lie, and my eyes will fry, and I may die. Won't you pour me one more of that sinful Old Jank Spirit?" Each of the two contestants would then concentrate his will on the bottle and attempt to tip it over and pour spirit into the glass of his opponent, who would then have to drink it. The bottle would be refilled, the game would be played again and again and again. Once you started to lose, you would probably keep losing, because one of the effects of Jank Spirit is to depress psychic power. As soon as a determined quantity had been consumed, the final loser would have to perform a forfeit, which was usually obscenely biological. Ford Prefect usually played to lose.